this computer. Okay.
Welcome, and we're doing another episode of Intentional Living Live. I am Marian Horan, a health and wellness expert and independent consultant with Arbonne, and I am joined with my friend
Tina Fenton. I am also an independent consultant with Arbonne and a yoga therapist, and I'm super excited to be here tonight because I know I'm going to learn a lot from you.
Well, I learn a lot from you. Like, we balance each other out, which I really love and appreciate. So what we're going to be talking about tonight is our microbiome. Our microbiome is such a vast system of nuts and bolts. It's actually over 100 trillion cells that contain all of these little bacteria in our gut, like this area right here. It's our intestine, it's our digestion, it's like the starting of our ileum in our small intestine. Like it creates this space, and it has such an impact on not only our motility, but also our ability to absorb nutrients that are in food. It assists in the production of hormones. A lot of the metabolites in our microbiome, they're like precursors for a lot of hormones. I know you're going to touch on that in a little bit, Tina, with the emotions. And then also, it really impacts our immune system, our ability to fight any invader, like, I don't know, COVID or the common cold or really anything. It really has such an influence on these areas of our body. And what happens is a lot of today's foods and a lot of stress that we encounter, a lot of toxins that we're exposed to on a day-to-day basis, it really can cause what's called a dysbiosis. You ever heard that term before, Tina?
No, I haven't. Actually, yes, Dr. Tanda Cook talked about that.
Yeah. So dysbiosis basically is just an imbalance in your microbiome, whether it's not enough good or too many bad. Like, it's not in balance. There's no checks and balances. So a lot of signs of dysbiosis, like excessive gas, bloating, if you have skin issues, if you have a bad immune system and you are susceptible to colds and flus very easily, if you are a precursor for, I read a term today that I thought was really, it was like diobesity. It's like diabetes, obesity combo.
Interesting, which is becoming very common.
Well, it's not like a singular condition anymore. It's usually in combination with each other. Anyway, so if you have bad sleep, if you have constipation, like, our microbiome controls so much of our day-to-day life that obviously a disruption in it, it's going to make itself known. And a lot of people, and especially doctors today, they're not aware of the microbiome as much. What they like to do is break it off into systems. Like, I'm trying to think of an example, but like, if you go in for like stomach pain and bloating, they're going to think like, oh, acid reflux.
Acid reflux, Pepsid. Take a Pepsid.
Yeah. And then that'll go away. Well, what about addressing it from a more functional perspective? And that's really what I like to do, is see where the imbalances are kind of going, right? So what are some things that we can really do to support our microbiome?
Can I cut in first? I want to,
yes, please,
while we're still on this, and talk about it. So from the yoga therapy world, we are trained to work with individuals that and talk about their eating habits and talk about, what their lifestyle is like. And they call the microbiome, or the gut, our second brain.
Yes.
It is the second brain of our body. And a lot of mental health issues can be linked to the microbiome as well. So individuals that come to me and that I work with one-on-one, I will ask them about their eating habits and see if they're eating a lot of sugar, if they feel like they have a leaky gut, if they feel bloated and have gas, all those other things you spoke about. because sometimes it could be rooted in the gut. And when we start to remove some of those things, which I know you're going to talk about in a second, it helps to create balance again. My own personal story, when I didn't know I had Lyme yet, my gut health was so off because of the infection, the bacterias from the Lyme and the different co-infections. They had
Mhm.
attacked my intestinal tract. So my
Yeah.
gut health was totally off. Mental health, skin, bloating, weight gain, I wasn't losing weight because my body was starving because my gut health was off.
Yeah, you
So
weren't absorbing the nutrients in the
no,
foods to really nourish your body.
no,
Yeah.
the bacterias were taking away what was good. Like it was, I was out of whack completely. It was amazing what I learned and about my gut health from that.
Yeah.
Continue.
It is really impactful. No, I'm really glad you brought that because like that reminds me of my journey. You know, I first went to Dr. Hyman's Ultra Wellness Center where I was diagnosed with leaky gut syndrome.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was going to him is because I was encountering so many bouts of depression.
Mm.
So gluten, which was eating away at my intestinal lining. Like it's kind of like a tunnel if you're going underwater. You know,
Mhm.
you don't want any cracks in that tunnel or else it'll fill with water and your car won't be able to get through. Well, that's really happening when leaky gut happens. Like a lot of things aren't really digestible by our bodies and it makes holes in our intestine lining. So then other things escape out of those holes, which cause
Toxicity.
yeah.
Basically toxicity because it's the bio waste as it's going through and now it's going into our body.
Yeah, in our bloodstream and our white cells, you know, our immune system is like, hey, what's that? You don't belong here. Let me
Right.
attack you.
Right.
And then if it's constantly leaking, then the body doesn't know what's good or what's bad anymore. And that's where we get the autoimmune disorders, which are a lot linked to this leaky gut, which is damage to our intestinal lining from a poor balanced microbiome.
It's
It's
amazing.
fascinating.
It
It's
is
fascinating
fascinating.
when we're all connect, when you really start looking into it, it really is a test that we are all connected.
Every system of the body works together. And unfortunately, when we go to a doctor, they treat the symptom
Mm-hmm.
and in the place where the symptom is. So if you have lower back pain, they treat the lower back.
Yeah.
You know, if you like have indigestion, they treat where the indigestion is. They don't sit and say, well, let's see if you have indigestion, there could be a connection to the stomach and to the intestinal tract and the microbiome and
What is
what
your
you're
diet?
eating.
What
What
you're
is your
eating?
diet? And you know, it's known that doctors have, what is it, one day of nutrition or a couple of hours of nutrition
Oh, it's an
training.
elective. It's an elective
Right.
class for them.
Right.
And not only that, like they don't have the time to dedicate to these patients to even get to these levels. Like
Right. 15 minutes.
they're paid by insurance companies. The more clients they see, the more they get paid. So it's like in and out. Oh, you got this. All right, here you go. Bye.
Right.
Bye. Anyway, so what are some things that we can do to support our microbiome? Tina, what have you learned to support your microbiome?
Me personally, went pretty radical because I think it was like a whole leaky gut thing going on. And I
Yeah.
had it again last fall because of medications. I was on medication for Lyme for 2 years, which wreaks havoc on the gut and the lining. And I felt like something was going awry because I was back where I was, holding on to weight, bloating again, sluggish. So, what do I do? No sugar, no gluten.
Good.
I limit my dairy to like high end, yummy, hard cheese every once in a while, but I
Mm-hmm.
try and really limit my dairy intake. Lots of fruits. Actually, I shouldn't say that. Not a lot of fruits, because to me, those are my body metabolizes that sugar and it turns into fat. So I stay
Yeah.
away from fruits. But that's what I know, what I've learned in my body. Lots of leafy greens every
Yes.
day. I
Yep.
do greens balance every morning, 2 scoops, and then I have 3 to 4 servings of leafy greens every day, kale, spinach, and then other vegetables. So that's important to me. I get at least 5 to 6 servings of veggies every day.
Okay. Well, one really great thing in those veggies, the key thing for our microbiome is that they're very rich in fiber.
Yeah.
Fiber is that wonderful thing. It fuels our microbiome. They love to eat it. It's also very nourishing for them. Like a lot of them have what's called resistant starch. So it's a starch that's able to go into our actual intestinal tract to feed these bugs. It's really good food for the bugs.
So what other besides the green? So something like oatmeal really good?
Oatmeal is a hot topic
Is it?
because oatmeal, depending on the source that you get, if you're getting non-GMO, gluten-free oats,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually pretty good for you.
Yeah.
But if you're just getting run-of-the-mill Uncle Sam's,
Yeah.
that's been sprayed
Processed.
with
Right.
genetically modified pesticides like glyphosate,
Right.
like that's one of the things that's going to cause holes in your intestine tract because it's a very strong pesticide.
Right.
And then the gluten also, it has these things called lectins on them. Lectins are very sticky proteins and they like to stick to the intestinal wall. And that's actually what's causing it to become damaged for things to leak out.
Interesting.
So not a simple answer, but oats would be good because they are very rich in fiber, like steel cut oats, especially.
Right. I do a mix of the gluten-free non-GMO oats with like half and half, and then steel cut oats, and I put them together.
Do you know what I do with the oatmeal whenever I'm consuming it? This is going to get a little off topic, but I also add a scoop of the protein boost.
I do put, yep, I do protein. Sorry, but yeah.
Because then it balances the macronutrients, so it makes it more of a complete meal. Because one of the things about oatmeal too is very high in carbohydrates.
Right.
And that's going to cause a spike in your insulin levels, which is going to affect your emotions and your parasympathetic nervous system, that flight and fight response.
Right.
Anyway, so what are the things to support the microbiome? Eat a very fiber rich diet, lots of lean, leafy green vegetables, nuts, seeds, fresh fruits, whole food. You want to eat whole foods. You don't want to be eating a lot of processed foods. Another thing would be to consume a probiotic. And you don't want like yogurt's probiotics, like
drives
the
me crazy.
Arbonne. There is so much sugar in those yogurts, which the sugar super acidic for the microbiome. The microbiome likes a nice alkaline environment. So if you're adding a lot of things with a lot of acidity, like dairy, sugar, alcohol, like that's going to cause that dysbiosis.
But what's funny also is sugar feeds the bad bacteria. So you're negating all the work, like you're negating the good bacteria that's in the yogurt with the sugar that's now feeding the bad bacteria that's already in there. So you're just negating.
I know.
It's a whole
Activia was a great idea. It brought more awareness to probiotics in the general marketplace. But drives
me crazy.
More education is needed.
So much more. I tell people that all the time. So much more. But I use the gut health.
Yeah.
Which has
the gut health and microbiome support. What is it officially called now?
Gut health.
I still want to call it Digestion Plus.
Gut health microbiome support. Yeah, gut health microbiome support. Because it has the probiotics, prebiotics, and enzymes. So I'm getting all three. And I feel like what a way to start the day with the empty stomach. It's the first thing I put in.
I know. I mean, that is such the best thing that you can do is fuel your body first thing in the morning. You have this layer of protection for the whole day. Really great.
And, I tell people, do your research because a lot of the probiotics and prebiotics are refrigerated. They're in capsule form. What are they in? What's that capsule they're in?
You want to hear something? A lot of the probiotics that are available in the market right now are actually taken from bovine stomachs.
Get out of here.
Yep. I just learned that.
Oh.
So
I love the convenience.
Implanting another species probiotics into our bodies.
That's just foreign. What I was going to say is I was not going there to find out it was bovine. Anyway, I was going to say that a lot of them are refrigerated, and
Yeah.
which is not convenient. Like when you travel, or if you want to take it a little later in the day, or like when my belly's upset, I'll take a second packet of gut health in the afternoon just to
Yeah.
balance out the acids and the bacteria in my belly.
Well, and the enzymes to help you digest something.
Right.
That's what I love about it.
So it's so easy to have a packet whenever you want and just pour it. The shelf life is longer, because it's in. So yeah. Oh, because it's not bovine.
Yeah, you don't have to think about it.
You don't have to think about it. It's super easy.
Another way to consume probiotics, which is really great, is to have fermented foods.
Mm-hmm.
So I love kimchi,
Mm.
especially because it has a nice like spice. I like the spice. Sauerkraut is really great. If you're drinking kombucha, like kombucha's become really popular nowadays, but you also have to be very cautious because kombucha is super high in sugar also.
Yeah.
So
I had to cut them
like
out with the lime. I had to give up kombucha, and I loved kombucha. I used to brew my own.
yeah,
I had a
us too.
host. Yeah,
And
and
the
I had to give.
Crocs and the
Yep.
mother.
Yep. So I had to give that up, and then I like Bubby's pickles.
Yes, those are
They're,
so good.
they're really good with the juice, so I'll treat myself and get those to help
Oh,
as well.
that's good. So as far as so consumption, you know what you're going to eat. What about how you can limit or eliminate the things that are causing the gut damage? So that would mean avoiding foods that contain lectins, or if you are going to consume the lectins, prepare them in a way that they're broken down. Like pressure cooking is a really fantastic way to break down the lectins. Soaking quinoa overnight or beans, lentils, if you soak them, it actually removes the lectins from them.
Interesting. I always wondered why we did that. Now I know.
Yeah, actually, I just made a post about beans on my blog
All right.
because it's like one of those things. I don't really eat a lot of beans, but I wanted to find out more about. Like I was just researching for myself, and I'm like, you know what? Why don't I share this with other people?
Right. Right.
Because they're actually really high in like folate and B
Mm-hmm.
vitamins, which I know I'm lacking in my diet. So I was thinking about having some more.
All
Anyway,
right.
pressure cooking the beans, soaking them overnight, also sprouting them. Have you ever sprouted?
No, I have not.
Yeah, so it's actually like you're planting the seed and it's sprouting, and
Cool.
that actually creates more nutrients and it breaks down those lectins. All right, we got to get going.
I
This
know.
is
I
running on
know.
a little. I think we'll just have to stop it here and then talk about the immune system another time.
Okay.
I mean, even though our microbiome really strongly influences our immune system, like that's one real good takeaway that you can have. 70% of our immunity begins in our microbiome. So making sure if you have a dysbiosis, you're like, reach out to me, reach out to Tina. We can help support a better balance, whether it's identifying foods that you might be reactive to, recommending a certain eating plan, whether it's in line with our 30 Days to Healthy Living program. There's a low FODMAP, like fermented
Yep.
ugly saccharide, like there's that, which is really beneficial for balancing the the microbiome. There's lots of tips and tricks that we've learned along the way, and we want to help support your health the best way that we can, because we all are here to live a more intentional, enriched life. And who doesn't want to feel great all the time?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Yes, the immune system, the skin, your metabolism, but honestly, your energy. When your gut health is balanced, the energy and your sleep and your clarity of your
Your skin
brain, your
too, your
skin,
skin.
like there's so many reasons that you would want to work on your gut health, honestly.
It's number one. A number one. The second brain.
Second brain. We said at the same time. Second brain.
Second
So,
brain.
all right. Thank
All right,
you.
Tina. Thank you so much for joining us and watching this. If you have any questions, like I said, please reach out to myself or Tina. We are here to help you live a more intentional life.
Yes, thank you. I learned so much tonight, Marian. Thank you. Have a great night.
Yay.
Bye. How do I? Oh, there we go.